Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into a framework that has literally transformed lives for decades. Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So, if you're tired of quick fixes, stick around because we're about to break down the real principles for lasting success. Okay, so let's get right into it. Covey says most people chase success using what he calls the personality ethic. You know what this is. It's all about public image, social charm, the quick fix techniques. But he argues that real, lasting success, that comes from the character ethic. This is the deep stuff: integrity, courage, patience. It's an inside-out job, not an outside-in fix. And this whole inside-out idea, it isn't just a nice thought. It's a structured path, a real journey of growth. Covey actually has a name for this path. He calls it the maturity continuum. So this continuum breaks down into 3 big stages. We all start out in dependence, which is the you paradigm. You take care of me. Then, through mastering ourselves, we achieve independence. That's the I paradigm. I can do it. I am responsible. But, and this is key, that's not the final destination. The highest level is interdependence, the we paradigm, where we choose to combine our talents to create something way bigger together. Right, and this point is absolutely critical. You cannot be an effective part of a we until you have truly, deeply mastered the I. Think about it. Interdependence is a choice that only independent people can make. If you try to skip that step, you don't get true collaboration, you get codependency, or even just chaos. So, where do we start on this journey? Well, it all begins with what Covey calls the private victory. This is the internal work. This is where you forge that character foundation that everything else will be built upon. It all kicks off with habit 1, be proactive. And look, this is so much more than just taking initiative. It's this fundamental idea that between what happens to you and how you react, there's a space. And in that space lies your freedom and your power to choose your response. And this visual just nails the concept perfectly. Think about it. Reactive people focus all their energy on their circle of concern, things they have zero control over, like the weather or politics. It's a total energy drain. But proactive people, they flip the script. They pour their time and energy into their circle of influence, their health, their skills, their relationships. The things they can actually do something about. All right, next up is habit 2, begin with the end in mind. This is the habit of personal leadership. It's all about asking yourself a huge question. I'm working so hard climbing this ladder of success, but is my ladder leaning against the right wall? This is where you define your core values and create a personal mission statement to guide every single choice you make. And then comes habit 3, and this is really where the rubber meets the road. Put first things first, is the habit of personal management. It's where you take the proactivity from habit 1 and the vision from habit 2, and you make it happen. You organize and you execute around your deepest priorities, not just what feels urgent. And this right here is the tool that makes it possible, the urgent/important matrix. So many of us live our lives trapped by the urgent, bouncing between crisis mode in quadrant I and distractions in quadrant 3. But the most effective people, they live in quadrant 2. They focus on things that are important but not urgent, like planning, learning, and building relationships. And you know what that does? It prevents crises from ever happening. So, once you've achieved that private victory, once you've truly mastered yourself, you are ready for the next level, the public victory. This is where you make that leap from independence to interdependence by building incredibly effective relationships with others. The core idea here is a really powerful metaphor called the emotional bank account. Just picture this. In every relationship, there's a bank account, and every interaction you have is either a deposit or a withdrawal. The balance of that account represents the level of trust between you and that person. You make deposits by keeping your promises, showing kindness, truly listening, and apologizing when you're wrong. And you make withdrawals by, breaking promises, being disrespectful, or ignoring people. It's simple. A high trust balance makes everything easy. A low balance makes everything a struggle. And hey, this isn't just some nice idea. It is backed by solid research. The relationship expert Dr. John Gottman discovered that stable, happy couples have a magic ratio of at least 5 positive interactions for every 1 negative one. 5 to 1. That's just incredible validation for how important those small, consistent deposits really are. See, when you have that high trust foundation, it makes habit 4 possible. Think win-win. This isn't just a technique. It is a total philosophy for how you interact with people. It's about always seeking solutions where everyone benefits. And it comes from having an abundance mentality, the core belief that there's plenty of success for everyone, instead of seeing life as some kind of competition. But how in the world do you get to a win-win solution? Well, you have to practice habit 5 first. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is such a profound shift. Most of us, we listen with the intent to reply, right? We're just waiting for our turn to talk. This habit challenges us to listen with only one goal: to truly, deeply, and empathically understand the other person's point of view. So when you combine the high trust of win/win with the deep understanding you get from empathetic listening, you unlock habit 6, synergy. This is the magic. This is where 1 + 1 = 10 or 100. It's when you value the differences between people and you create brand new, better solutions together that nobody could have possibly come up with on their own. Okay, so you've achieved personal mastery. You're building high-trust relationships. Fantastic. But how do you keep all this going? How do you avoid burning out? Well, that brings us to the final and maybe most important habit, the one that makes all the others possible. Habit 7 is to sharpen the saw. It's the habit of renewal. Just imagine a woodcutter who's been sawing for days without stopping. The saw gets dull, right? The work gets harder, more exhausting, and way less effective. This habit is about taking the time to sharpen your saw, because your single greatest asset is, and always will be, you. And this means consistently investing in 4 key dimensions of your life: the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the social/emotional. Renewal is the ultimate quadrant 2 activity. It is so important, but it almost never feels urgent. That's why it takes real proactive discipline to make it a priority. So, now that we've gone through all 7 habits, what does this entire journey look like? Let's zoom out and bring it all together. The 7 habits give you this incredibly clear sequential path. As you can see here, the private victory, that self-mastery, is the non-negotiable foundation. You have to build that first. On top of that foundation, you can then build the public victory of teamwork and collaboration. And what holds the entire thing up and keeps it going? That constant, crucial habit of renewal. Ultimately, this whole system is about leading a life guided by principles. It's about shifting from being a reactor, someone who just lets life happen to them, to being the creator of your own life. And as Covey said so perfectly, the goal isn't just to prioritize your schedule, but to actually schedule your priorities. And that brings us to a final question, just for you to think about. Looking at your own life, what is one important, non-urgent quadrant 2 activity that you will intentionally schedule this week to invest in yourself and to sharpen your own saw?